good enough to do this. I haven't been around for a while. Been a little busy. Not doing any shooting stuff lately. Have not got to shoot much. I shot one match. Uh, pretty rusty. Pretty pretty rough on me. But got a couple things I want to talk about here, and I know that I'll just not do it if I don't do it. Basically, just kind of go through it live here. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about like the tape. Grab this. I think I can't show the old pistola, but I think I can. I think I can show the slide. I have been. That's where I've been. I had to do a couple months in the old slammer now. I'm in this little efficiency that I got for this project we're working on. Got a whole bunch of cool shit going on, man. We're building some cool shit. I'm getting to do something now that I've kind of dreamed of doing my whole life, but never thought it'd be possible because it just takes a whole lot of land and it takes a whole lot of money and kind of things are working out pretty cool, so it should be interesting. But it's taken me away from this. I haven't done shit. Yeah, this is in this little efficiency that I got that's real close to this project. So um, it was like a fully furnished little efficiency. Christ, the thing had paper towels and shit. I was like, holy hell, that's all right. That's pretty nice. Um, so I'll be back ripping on the old Beretta for a little while. Sending my Glock frame out to get some loving from DC Precision. They do some cool shit where they'll fatten your grip. The reason I like this Beretta so much is because the grip is big, and DC Precision fattens the grip on Glocks, and they actually add weight to it somehow with some cool stuff that they're doing. So they can contour the grip and make it kind of any way you want it. So I'm going to have them do me up a grip, and I'm going to shoot this thing in the meantime. And just playing with this again reminds me of how much I like it. Man, it's easy. And throwing a freaking light on there, this thing, I couldn't imagine a Shadow 2 with a freaking light, or even a Sig Legion, because they're heavier than these, with a light on it and a +5 full magazine. I just, it's like a fucking boat anchor. That's basically, they do some cool stuff. They take silicone carbide and put it together with tungsten powder. They've designed something, and it holds up, and they can contour the grip and make it any contour, make it fat, make one side kind of the same as stock, and make the other side, the left side, fat, or vice versa if you're left-handed. So gonna be pretty cool. I'm gonna get them to fatten the grip up a little bit and add some weight to it. I don't really want to shoot with a light, but man, it is a little bit of an advantage for sure. Like putting the light on the gun settles it down quite a bit and just makes everything a little bit easier. But Yeah, my last match was bit of a shit show. I was just not seeing well. I was shooting too fast and shooting kind of at the speed I felt good at last year, and I wasn't able to see at that speed in this match. Like, I executed all my game plans and all my stage plans well, and still did well, but man, it just, I had 3 mics. I think last year mics all year. I had 3 mics. Uh, so I was just not seeing well at all. And the bad part was is 2 of them I didn't even call. Like, I thought something might shit, but it just sucked. I was pretty aggravated. But not shooting at all. I did one class, and then one class with 3 guys and one class with 2 guys in the last 4 months. So I just gotta get practicing. Um, Max Michelle just won. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, he could shoot a Glock 26 probably, or something even shittier. And it just seems like right now he's just. I don't see how you, him and Christian Seiler. I don't know how you beat those guys. Like, I just don't know how you can do stage after stage after stage that well. It just doesn't make any freaking sense. That's a bummer. You got to find a new spot, find a farmer or somebody that'll let you lease a little chunk of land or something. Maybe that's what I try to do. If I didn't, if I wasn't lucky enough to have the spot that I have, I'd try to find a farmer or somebody who would let me lease a little chunk or something and do a little private range. I don't see how. I mean, right now, like Max Michelle is just like a machine. He's a robot. He just doesn't make mistakes at all. It's it's not very encouraging to see like how good those guys are. I'd just like to see how much they actually practice nowadays, or how much it's from just years and years and years of being at a high level and kind of just being able to operate at that level now. Because Max Michelle seems to just be getting better all the time. It, I don't know. Same like some of the shit that Eric Raffel puts on his Instagram is it's silly. Shooting steel swingers and shit, just 15-yard steel 4-inch, 5-inch plates that are swinging, and just dink, 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 gone. It's crazy. We had a couple, actually, some cool shit. It was see in USPSA, they're starting to adopt some of that, which is very tough. The steel swingers, so there'll be like a almost like a Texas Star, but like a small version of a Texas Star. In this match, they had a couple of them, and one of them was behind some barrels and shit, and it was tough. Like, if you could get both steel on the first pass through, you were crushing it. Which I didn't see anybody get it on the first pass through, but it's 2 4-inch or 5-inch squares that are actually swinging. It was pretty cool, pretty tough to actually get them. It's just one of those things that's so easy to sit there and throw 5 shots at. So I like to see that. That'll be interesting to see more of that in USPSA. Hell yeah, I guarantee they're practicing constantly. I'd just like to see how much their practice is, or what they're doing on a day-to-day basis to be that level, because it's freaking insane. So I haven't shot any film or anything because I haven't been out at the range, and I've been too busy with other shit to even think about really any shooting shit or any neat stuff. So I do have a class Sunday. There's 3 or 4 guys coming, I think 4. Um, and we're going to do a little pistol class action. So I'll have some footage from that probably, kind of film some random shit, and we'll talk about a few things. This live session, I wanted to talk about target focus, and target focus is in like 3 different things, and I wanted to talk a little bit about how like Pop's Quest and a lot of people are doing the covering up the tape over the, I guess it's the objective lens of your optic, and then that allows you to basically see that you are not fully target focusing. But there's a few things that I think people are really missing, and I think that tape trick is a bit of a crutch, and I think that you should really only use that tape trick if you absolutely need to and if you absolutely have to. And I don't like the fact that a lot of guys are using that tape all the time now, or using it a lot. I personally believe that you should use the tape, see that you got a problem, and then fix it without the tape on the objective lens. It's almost like, how are you going to fix the problem if you've then put something on the pistol to fix the problem for you, or to force you not to do it? I want my eyeballs to work right without something helping me. So there's a few different ways that I'll talk about how I kind of got to the point where I don't ever have to worry about that. Now, I've been shooting dots since late 2016, so it's getting to be a while now. And I just learned from good people right off the bat. So the whole target focus thing, I just, and I hadn't shot 20 years, right? So I kind of started shooting a couple years, starting to get good, or get better, and then starting to figure it out a little bit, and switched immediately to a dot. So the target focus thing kind of came really natural, and then once I had it, I had it. But there is some ways to make sure that you are better at it. And then there also, I talk about it like there's 3 different levels of target focus. There is looking at the dot itself, which you're totally fucked if you're doing that, okay? And that's actually seeing the dot itself and looking at it, following it around. It's going all crazy and shit, and you are trying to look at it. That's many people are doing that, and that's why they're having trouble tracking. They're having trouble getting out of it to transition. They're following it around, and then they're having trouble with over confirmation, because that dot is always moving around like crazy. I mean, we can't keep it still. So if you're focused on it, it's getting in your head, and you want to settle it. You want to get a sight picture, and that's just never going to happen. So looking at the dot is level 1, which you gotta figure that out, and stop looking at the freaking thing. Notice it. Don't look at it. And then the second one, the second level of it that I think so many people are at this level and they're not realizing it, is getting sucked into the tube. Okay, so that's a rifle term talking about LVPOs on rifles, or red dots on rifles, where people will get sucked into the tube. Now, what that means, that does not mean that you are looking at the dot itself. That means that you are looking at the world through a toilet paper roll, basically, and not using your vision fully, okay? So a lot of people are at this second level. They are sucked into the tube, but they're not looking at the dot. So it's not as bad as looking at the dot itself, but a lot of people just aren't noticing or figuring out, okay, I'm not actually looking at the dot, but I'm also not actually 100% target focused. So now I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. and they can't figure it out. So that's where the tape thing comes in and all these different ways to try to combat this issue. But they don't realize that getting sucked into the tube thing is like, it's huge. And I'd be willing to bet that 3/4, 75% of the people that are having target focus issues are really having more of that looking through the toilet paper roll issue, and not actually looking at the dot itself. Okay, so if you're looking at the dot itself, you got to get going. You got to get away from that, right? Yeah, notice the dot. Don't look at it. Just notice it. And one way to do that I've found is, let's say, let me see this here. Let's say I'm in dry practice. I am, damn it, these little targets are sick. So in dry practice, a lot of people will look at the A and then put the dot on the A. For me, I've always looked right up here somewhere, above the A, and put the dot on the A. So I'm never even looking where the dot is specifically, right? My vision, my acute vision, and that red dot never actually meet up. I'm always a little bit different. So I just put my dot directly under where I'm looking on the targets in dry practice. Now, in practical shooting, in the speed of shooting live fire and all that kind of stuff, you never really notice the difference anyway. I'm looking, let's say I'm looking right here, and I'm shooting, my dot's right there on the actual A. So that's one way in dry practice to kind of combat the issue, to where you make sure that you're never actually crossing the two. Your acute vision and that dot itself, you're never actually crossing those. You're never actually looking in the exact same spot as that dot, because that's one way to get sucked into it, to get sucked into looking at the thing. We just want to notice it. We want to be able to put that thing where we want it without actually looking there. Everything that we're trying to do in shooting is trying to do things subconsciously, or trying to do things naturally and just kind of let them happen. We don't want to have to look at a perfect specific spot and then put the dot there, because that's going to lead to over confirmation. That's going to lead to a bunch of bullshit. One way or the other, you're just going to have fucking issues. So let me look at these comments real quick, and then the third level of target focus is 100% target focus. So actually doing it like the way we want to do it. So that's a full environmental vision, where you're looking at the entire environment, and you see nothing but a red dot floating in that environment. You don't see the ring of your SRO. You don't see the ring of anything. You don't see the gun underneath of it. I mean, you don't see shit, but just a red dot that's floating in there somewhere, and you don't even give a shit where it's at until it's where you want it. So your body has to put the damn thing where you want it, and then your brain says, okay, there it is, bang, and I'm on to the next thing. Noticing where that dot is and not looking at the damn thing will change the game for you. Let's see here. So on that one interview with Gravel, didn't they say they shoot like 1,500 rounds a session, but his sessions were short, like an hour? Damn, that's crazy. 1,500 rounds in 1 hour would be sending some rounds. But no, see, that's one thing where a lot of people, if you listen to like Ben Steger's podcast and Juancic and those guys talking a lot about the round count now has gotten, so much lower, and people are realizing that might have been wasting some ammo before, right? Might have been sending 1,000 rounds downrange when we could have got better work out of 500, so or 300. So I like to listen to those guys. If you're looking for training kind of tips on low round count, lots of stuff like that, the Ben Steger podcast is just a good source for all that shit. But those guys are realizing, and those are guys that shot a lot of rounds. I've never shot the amount of rounds that those guys have ever even, I've never even come close to that on like a weekly basis. So for me, a lot of rounds, like 2 years ago, probably from 4 years ago to 2 years ago, that 2 year stretch, I was shooting well over 1,000 rounds a month. And to me, that was like, I was feeling really good, right? One year, I think the most I ever shot in 1 year was like 20,000. So I mean, I was feeling great. That's when I was really trying to get all my appendix work and everything on point. I wanted to be able to do certain things, and I was shooting 100% from appendix, and I felt good. I felt freaking super freaking confident, and was learning so much so quickly at that time too. So, but that's not even scratching the surface of what those guys do round count wise. But I think a lot of people are realizing now that they can get the same amount of work done with just a quarter of the rounds that they probably used to shoot. Because even the big guys are probably feeling the ammo crunch a tiny bit, as far as maybe their sponsors aren't sending them pallets. Maybe they're chilling out a little bit. JJ and Eric are probably biggest rivals. Yeah, I figured they're pretty good friends. I think, but lots of politics and stuff. In the IPSC versus USPSA thing, there's definitely going to be little things there where, you know, and I figured Max Michel and Eric Graffel were pretty big rivals as well. But I'm not sure nowadays they're not really shooting the same divisions. So I guess JJ shooting open and production, that's what Eric Graffel seems to be in. I guess he plays around with everything. But I was talking to Rob Epifania today, and we were talking about, has anybody ever made Grandmaster in every division? And I don't think it's ever been done. But that would be crazy if somebody did. Because you'd have to be a GM in Revolver, Limited, Limited 10, Production, Carry Optics, PCC, Open, and that's 7. I think there's 8 of them. Yeah, I don't think anybody's ever done that. But that'd be freaking nuts if somebody could. I think there's people, he was saying, there's people that have like 6 out of 8 or 7 out of 8 or something. I'm just super busy right now, and I'm gonna try to. My plan moving forward, I'm not gonna be able to do as much shooting stuff. I'm still gonna do some little private classes and shit like that, same way I've always been doing it. But I just don't. I don't think that I'm gonna get as much videos out. But I want to do at minimum like one good video a month, and then maybe just some of the short little videos and stuff. Uh, Yeah, Jerry, but Jerry doesn't shoot that much USPSA, and he never really has. He's been 3-gun heavy, and I mean, yeah, he's shot USPSA over the years, like a good bit, I guess, here and there. But if you think about it, Jerry shot Revolver in USPSA a ton, and then shot 3-gun super, super heavily. So I don't know how, like, what divisions Jerry is a GM in. I'm not sure what, you know what I mean? Because I really don't think that he shot a ton of USPSA in other divisions. Now he shoots like a dot M and P, carry optics style pistol all the time. But I don't think he's competed in a lot of USPSA matches outside of revolver division. Now, I could be wrong. Yeah, I have no freaking clue what he did over the years. But guys like Rob Latham, guys like, well, Rob Latham's probably the biggest one because he shot open back in the day and single stack, obviously still winning freaking nationals. He can grab a limited gun and just go to a classifier match and probably make M or GM right off the bat, you know. I mean, so Rob Latham is probably right there. He's probably one of the guys. And then some older guys that are probably missing PCC. So even if somebody, one of the older guys like Jethro Dionisio, I know he did like open and limited and all these different divisions. So he's probably a GM in like 5 divisions. But Keith Garcia, I think, is a GM in a couple of divisions. That guy's freaking impressive with the 3-gun shit and all that stuff. So anyway, there was some other thing that I was gonna say about the tape shit over the objective lens of your dot. I just I want people to really think about, okay, we've diagnosed an issue with that tape. That tape is used to diagnose an issue. Fix it with your own brain. Fix it with your own eyeballs. Don't band-aid on there, right? So strongly suggest people not lean on that too much. So use the tape trick to see if you have the issues. See if you are looking at the dot, and also see if you're getting sucked into the tube. And then once you've diagnosed the issues, once you think you have a diagnosis, fix that with vision and using the dot the way it's meant to be used. Don't keep occluding it and potentially just you're crutching. You're using a crutch to try to fix the problem when the entire premise of that tape trick is to show you the problem, not to fix it. So I think you get more out of it. I just don't want people to use the tape thing too much and then it actually lead to a bit of a shitty progression down the road. Now, it might, you know, like Pops is doing it a ton, and Manny thinks he's been doing it a ton. Um, I just, I opinion, I think I would refrain from using it that much and try to fix the issue with the eyeballs and with your mental ability to force yourself not to do that. Force yourself to 100% target focus. In dry practice, like I said, I don't ever put my dot and my eyeballs in the exact same place. I put my eyeballs up here and my dot right below it. In dry practice also, I will put like a small cross or something over the A, and that way I can see that thing. Or maybe in classes sometimes I'll write some little letters on the target. So over the A in the A zone, I'll put like a Z or some shit, and then I'll have somebody kind of do like an L pres where they do a 180, ding, 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 kind of shoot across the targets real quick, and then turn back around, and I'll say, okay, did you see those letters? What were the letters on the target? All kinds of stupid shit like that to get people looking at the freaking targets and not sucked into that tube and not looking at the dot. Because if you're looking at the dot or you're sucked in the tube, you'll never be able to see those letters. And also, I think it really, it's going to be detrimental to your shot calling abilities later on. Uh, I just, I don't have all night to fucking bend your ear on it. But, so, and aren't keen on it. Yeah, a lot of people, that have been around for a while and have been shooting dots for a long time, uh, like I said, it is a diagnostic tool. It is not for fixing the problem, in my opinion. And I would imagine those guys would probably line up somewhere on that side of the house where you can use that trick to figure out the problem, illuminate the issue, and then go ahead and fix it through forcing yourself to do it right and making sure that you're doing it right. It's the same kind of concept as those freaking mantis things. Like, there's a couple little features to that mantis stuff that I like, that I think is kind of neat, but 98% of it, I think it's a small little device telling you a bunch of shit that your eyeballs, your brain, and your hands and your feel should be telling you. It's the exact same concept as having to see the holes in the target to know where you hit the thing. Shot calling. Our eyeballs, our brain, our feel. Where did the sight lift from? That's where the shot just went. And then a little bit on shot calling, because I asked that little question the other day, got a freaking ton of good answers. I had all kinds of people on Instagram freaking put down their answers. X-Ray Alpha, Donovan, Point One Tactics, and I think Matt Hopkins and Slevin Cavera, and all these different freaking people put down answers that were like, explaining shot calling and the difference between follow through and all these things. And that's kind of why I posed the question, because you get awesome answers like that. And on YouTube, a bunch of good answers. So if you get a chance, kind of read through them. It's just a lot of good, smart, really freaking good shooters understanding the differences between them. And then as far as shot calling goes, I saw a few people that were a little off on what shot calling, not necessarily what shot calling is, but their style of calling shots. So I subscribe to is where the sight lifts from. So shot calling being my ability to see that dot kind of floating around and it's all over, or the front sight or whatever. I don't care about the feel of the trigger press, and I don't care about the sights on target before I break the shot. I care only about where that sight lifts from. And a few people answered and said shot calling is the ability to know where your shots have gone by your trigger press, like how good your trigger press felt and where the sight was before the shot went off. And that's not actually good enough, because a whole lot of bad shit happens every time we shank a shot that we didn't call. Something happened. Like, bang, what the fuck? Right? Like, something happened. So where the actual dot lifts from. So I'm coming on to this target, bang. Okay, where'd it lift from? Bang, dead center. Like, awesome. Okay, I'm coming on the target, and bang, where'd it lift from? Right on the AC line, right over here. So where the sight lifts from is how I call shots. And I think that's the most efficient way. That's the way Tim Herron teaches it. That's the way Hwansik teaches it. That's the way, like, a lot of, I think the best guys all teach it that way. So that's the way I kind of like it, and I think that's the most efficient way to call your shots. As far as follow through goes, I don't really talk about follow through or anything. There's so many overlapping concepts that take care of follow through, like re-prepping your trigger. Obviously, you're going to reacquire sights because the gun naturally returns if you have good grip, good wrist structure, good top triangle structure, all that kind of shit. The gun's going to naturally return to a good sight picture if you're doing everything else correctly and you're re-prepping your trigger. And in a defensive context where you're only shooting one target, that's follow through. That's basically completing a rep, is how Donovan put it in one of the comments, which is basically follow through in anything. Follow through in your fucking golf swing. completing the rep. And then in defensive context, as far as like, I'm shooting homeboy to stop them from doing something, or even fighting. Like, did it work? Right? Do I have I stopped this individual? Um, like follow through with the stopping of the threat, or follow through with the getting the hell out of there, or whatever. Just finishing the fight, I guess you could call follow through. But I think there's just many different better ways to talk about shit. And then as far as shot calling goes for defensive context, I mean, shit. One person said on here, which is pretty funny, because in my classes, my private classes and stuff, I have USPSA targets. That's all we use, right? And I just take T-shirts and slide them down over the USPSA target, and I'm like, okay, now we're tactical, right? Like now we just went from gamer shit to tactical shit by slipping some T-shirts over these targets. But and the comment that the individual left was, throw a freaking plaid or a black shirt with something like a design or something like that breaks up, right? And tell somebody to rip a build drill into that at 15 yards while they're slowly walking backwards or slowly walking forwards, or even advancing quickly, and then ask them where all the shots are, because in a t-shirt and shit, you're never going to know, right? Unless you called those shots. So that's a perfect drill to illuminate how important shot calling is for defensive context. Like, did you see cops all the time skipping rounds off the concrete when homeboy's only 8 yards away from them, and that's obviously just horrendous ability to shoot the guns, and they're freaking out, and they can't operate the gun at a real natural subconscious level, I guess. So they're just kind of yanking and doing crazy shit. But shot calling, if you get good at practical shooting and you go shoot competition to build all these skills way up, I promise you that you'll be able to do some shit if you ever have to. And your brain and your eyeballs will be so used, so inoculated to doing all this shit, that it will happen. Your brain and your eyeballs are the fastest, most incredible shit that we have. It'll do some shit. And you get a thing called tachypsyche, where your brain works faster. It might feel like it's working slower. It might feel like you're really freaking stupid in the moment. But like, after some of the most crazy encounters I've ever had, or after even crashes and shit that I've had, I've like thought back and thought how many thoughts went through my head in that 3 seconds, or how many thoughts went through my head in that minute or 45 seconds. So your brain and your eyes are a pretty powerful thing. I've done force on force, and I was able to call shots all day. Now, it's a little bit of a cheating thing because I wasn't that stressed out. Like, you just don't get that same level of you know, it's just not the same as real competition. It's just not the same as a real fight, because at the end of the day, like, this is kind of practice. Uh, so, but I was able to call shots in force on force like nothing. My issue with the tape is the offset of your eyes. If you think about it, it's a parallax. Yeah, there's always going to be some weirdness there with that. And like I said, I just stay away from it because I don't need to. If you are having trouble tracking your dot in recoil, if you are having trouble watching your dot transitioning from target to target to target, if you're having trouble thinking that the dot is just moving too frenetically, like too much motion, too much crazy shit going on with your dot, then you are probably looking at it. Because our dots are going nuts all the time. When you're truly target focused, you just don't notice all that bullshit because you don't need to. You only need to notice that dot when it's where I want to see it. I tell people all the time, you can't track recoil or track that dot in recoil One, probably because your grip sucks a little bit, right? Two, because you're getting too much muzzle flip and you literally can't see through the front of the gun, so you're never ever going to be able to track your dot if you're getting this much muzzle flip. Think about it. If your muzzle flips up this much, you can't track the target in the dot. You can't see through metal. It's never going to happen. So you got to get the gun at least somewhat flat before you can ever track dot completely on the target all the time. But that being said, I don't give a fuck where my dot goes. I just care when it's back. I just care when it's on the target, right? When it's in the A zone, I care where that thing is. I notice where it is. When it's not in the A zone, I don't really give a shit. It's up to my body and my hand-eye coordination to get it where it needs to go. But until it's where it needs to be, I don't care if it's going like this or I just don't give a shit where it's at. So the more environmentally you can see, like as a whole, fucking get your peepers cracked down and looking at the entire environment and just seeing that red ball kind of bouncing around in that environment, the more you can get in tune with that, the easier, like, red dot shooting is just going to start to get super freaking easier. So I want to know, how did you learn how to not move your shoulders? I assume you're talking about for the draw and stuff like that. Man, all you got to do is not move your face, not move your head, and not move a single thing, but your hands basically. So, I don't mind a little bit of shoulder movement is fine. So this is what I tell everybody. A little bit of shoulder movement is fine, and a little bit of elbow flare or whatever, no matter if you're going from outside the waistband or from appendix or anything. A little bit of shoulder movement, a little bit of elbow flare movement, all that shit is fine, as long as it's symmetrical. Okay? If we have asymmetrical movements, meaning one shoulder or the other, or weird shit, then you got issues. So let's say I kind of bounce both my shoulders or something. As long as it's symmetrical, you're golden. If it's asymmetrical and your head gets moved around, then you got problems. A lot of people think that the shoulder movement and stuff, efficiency is the goal, right? But we can't do things 100% efficiently. Like, it's just not possible. So you have to mix fluidity and efficiency together and shit to do some work. So if we can have just a tiny bit of inefficiency and still be really, really good. If we're moving asymmetrically and moving our head offline, then we're really going to start to jack things up, and you're already lining up like these pretty precise things on, like, okay, my eye line, and then my hands got to come up and meet my eye line, so there's kind of like two planes that have to meet. If you move your eye line or move your head or anything while you're trying to draw the pistol, now you got three things trying to line up. Now I'm trying to get my eye line back, get the gun out. It's just, the more shit we move around, the worse it's going to be. So take it slow. Hundreds of perfect reps. Perfect reps. And you can do slow reps in dry practice. You can do millions of them. The technique and the efficiency is where the speed will come from. So once you're doing it very efficiently, and you got your technique down, and you're not moving your shoulders or doing anything weird or any big abrupt goofy movements, then all you have to do at that point is add in a little bit of hand speed. You turn on the juice just a little bit more hand speed, a little bit more hand speed. As long as the technique and the efficiency remains with the hand speed jacked up a little bit, now you're fast. So pretty simple. Just look at yourself in the mirror, film yourself, any of that kind of shit. LTT have the replacement optic, yeah. Plate replacement slide or plate and shit with the actual steel inserts the way they should have built it in the first place that I had to pay for. So still not pumped on it. Found some night vision small enough to EDC. 84 field of view. HIR safe against middle grade. Now it's hand centered. How well that shit works. If you can actually even see. Looks like an old Exorcist TV or something. Get up and not be able to see nothing. But that'd be interesting if something like that, real simple little setup, if it actually would work halfway decent. That wouldn't be bad. Night vision is cool, man, but I'm not spending 10 grand, and that's 10 grand for stuff that's not the best. So it's something that I would love to have. I think it'd be neat, but I just don't. Shooting is not my only hobby, and night vision is so far down the list of things that I would want or need. You know, I just don't think we'll need anything like that. As far as a country goes, I just don't see the shit happening. If things didn't go to hell in the last 2 years, then I don't think it's going to happen. I think I'm negative or defeatist, but I think the left in this country is going to slowly but surely, death by a thousand cuts. They're going to get what they want, and it's going to slowly happen. And you're going to say goodbye to this kind of shit eventually. Now, it might be 100 years down the road, but I think they'll slowly get what they want. And I think that too many people see their. I don't see it. Repealed the Police Bill of Rights. The Free State is at the forefront of police rights. What do you mean by that? My state? I'm in MD. I'm in Maryland. So my state basically sucks on many levels. Um, but yeah, we might be speaking Chinese. Shit, we might be speaking Chinese in 25 years. As bad as things are going now. Uh, it I just think that the left has their game plan, and they've been the propaganda machine, and the whole thing has just been slowly but surely taken. I don't see it turn it around, and I think that they can chip away without ever pissing everyone off. Okay, so what is it, Pete? I didn't see anything. I haven't been paying attention to anything, dude. So I have no idea. The Police Bill of Rights. So is that going to hold police more accountable or less accountable? Because hopefully police are held to the same standard plus more standard than we are. I'm pretty sick of seeing uh, regular old citizens being fucked in the ass, and basically, and police are supposed to be held to a higher standard than the rest of us. Go on, but can't say anything about bad about police though. Holy shit! Have people on here trying to find out where I live, trying to call me on my cell phone and shit. Fucking people are nuts, dude. They're, I've talked a little bit of shit about several different things and people or whatever, like the training industry or things, and there is no bigger nut riders than the blue line nut riders. Dude, I had people calling my phone, figuring out, going on different things and trying to figure out and finding my phone number so that they could call me and try to talk shit to me. Like I'm gonna fucking listen to them or be like, oh yeah, you're right. I mean, what the? Seriously. And like all the dislikes and stuff that I get as soon as my videos go up, that's all people that are nut riding for the police. And I've never even said anything that bad about police. I just want them to be, held to a higher standard and quit treating people like shit. Just laid their hands open. Just laid their hands open and said, how about it be? You're saying. um, and like they're gonna let things like less policing or defund the police type stuff or what? I don't understand what the bill is or what the repeal of the police bill of rights. I just have no idea. I haven't seen anything on that. Um, I'm pro law enforcement. I know a lot of cops. I get along with cops plenty fine. I just really do think that there's just too much of that team police versus everybody else mentality instead of team police and good people versus bad people. Like we should all be on the same team. Kind of stuff like that's the only thing that I kind of hate is the you or I would probably go to prison a lot of the times and people are just getting fired or not really being held to the same standard as regular old people. So, and I do think I saw a thing. I think Aaron Cowan was talking about it. So the chick that the lady cop who pulled her gun instead of her taser. um, Aaron Cowan had a pretty good point on that, which is why did they start making tasers shaped like guns in the first place, right? Now, obviously, it's a training issue, it's a hiring issue, it's a quota hire issue, as that dude, um, the cop guy on YouTube would say. Uh, Obviously, all that, but why does a taser need to be shaped like a gun? Like the new tasers now are shaped just like a pistol. Why? Why wouldn't it be shaped like this freaking magazine? Like why the hell's it got to be shaped like a pistol? Why would you want to draw it like a pistol? Why would you want it on your belt or anywhere near to draw it like a pistol? Like people think about nice clean cop shootings all the time when who's to say that cop, not in that situation particularly, but who's to say that cop didn't just get hit in the side of the head with a brick? And now they're going to pull out their taser 3, 4, 5 minutes later when they're actually on Queer Street. Like they don't even know where they're at. they're concussed. But it's so you got to think about the weird fights that cops might get in where they might get smacked in the back of the head with a baseball bat and be concussed and outside of their mind, and then they go to draw their taser and it's shaped like a pistol. I mean, I just don't know why the hell they started making tasers that looked exactly like handguns. And this, oh, we're going into weeds now. So started talking about police. Something about the Maryland, something happened in Maryland where they repealed certain law enforcement something. I'm not real sure. I haven't looked it up or anything, but one thing that's funny is a lot of conservative kind of libertarian people don't like police, and a lot of left don't like police. So they kind of get it from both sides, uh, which it sucks for them, but some of it's warranted. Marketing. What about it? See the Nevada State Trooper get gunned down by a short AR. No, I did not. That doesn't sound good. That'll be on every news outlet just because of something that happened to do with an AR just right after Biden does all this shit. Yeah. Hey, Maryland's the same way. We have dispensaries right here in town now. So you can smoke all the dope you want. Just can't carry a gun. Unless you carry around a bunch of money, then you're free to carry a gun all you want. Fucking crazy. Nevada. The dude gets shot where they said his hands were up or whatever, and then I saw the couple weeks ago where the lady cop shot the kid or dude with thinking it was a taser, and then I mean there's been a lot of shit lately actually, and the mass shooting or whatever. I haven't been paying much attention to anything though, and even the Biden stuff like the executive orders and shit. I have not been paying attention to jack shit because I don't give a shit what they do. You know, at some point we all just need to say, fucking pass all the laws you want, but we just ain't gonna do shit. I don't know what else to say. Like, at this point, it's just pieces of paper in a desk somewhere that says you're not allowed to do this stuff. I mean, it's so arbitrary. It's so, this thing is legal, that thing is not. Like, pff, whatever. Yeah, it's impossible to even know what. Like, I have no idea what they even just passed. Or yeah, mass non-compliance is basically the only answer. And obviously fighting it, the political route, and doing all that stuff, but sending a clear, concise message that nobody, nobody is going to comply with these laws. Yeah, nobody is going to comply with this stuff. And, we don't have to be like, boog about it and be like, yeah, we're not going to comply, come take it and all this stuff. Just be like, just we don't give a shit. We totally don't give a shit what you put on paper. Nobody cares. And basically just act like it never happens. And the bad part is they can stop so much new new production of certain things, and they can stop so many businesses from making certain things illegal. All of a sudden hundreds of businesses go out of business. If they say that if another assault weapons ban came down that was actually like the 1994 assault weapons ban, I mean, there'd be hundreds and hundreds of businesses out of business. And so many people would be out of business. So that's the main blow. Like, we can all just say, hey, we're not going to give you what we have, and we're going to keep what we got, and we're going to do what we want, and blah, blah, blah. But them killing the businesses and killing all the new production and killing all the new gun owners, and that's where they're going to kill us. That's where they're going to get us. that's and ammo sales and taxes, and they're gonna, like I said, 100 years. I think they're gonna win. I think they're gonna slowly win, and the pussification of America and all these things are gonna slowly start to build up, and nobody's gonna want to give up internet, electricity, and all these niceties and all this luxury to do what's necessary. Let's say 50 years from now, we're all old men or dead, and it's coming to that point where truly something needs to be done one way or another: secession, splitting up the country, or just a civil war. I don't think people will give up the luxury in order to do it, because more and more people are disconnected from history nowadays. So, be a part of history would be one gigantic reason to do that if it needed done. Understanding that there would have to be martyrs, understanding that there would have to be the first, right? The first people to push back, and those people are probably going to be slaughtered. Uh, Understanding that to be a part of the right side of history, potentially, would have to be made. And I just think slowly but surely, people aren't going to give up the luxury in order to do that. And then that, the indoctrination and the brainwashing that goes on in schools kind of and all these different things. I mean, some of the stuff that they teach now, they just learned that certain things didn't happen the way they were said or whatever. So I don't have any problem with some of that, but a lot of the things that they're teaching now it's a means to an end. It's to indoctrinate people to a different way of thinking, a little bit of brainwashing. 50 years down the road, uh, like Bill said, we'll probably all be speaking Chinese. Uh, so it's it's tough to think about. I don't like to be negative or anything, but uh, there's going to have to be some really charismatic people that are able to rally the troops in a major way if people were ever going to stand up. And I just don't see, because everybody wants to be a chief, nobody wants to be an Indian, you know. Uh, Everybody wants to be the guy, everybody wants to be the boss, everybody wants to be the leader, and I just think people are too shitty nowadays, and myself included. I won't be at the front of the line. When it comes down to it, I think that, you know, I would do whatever I could, I guess. I don't know. But boy, that's a tough topic to talk about. There's no real good answers there, for sure. So, all right, guys, been on here for an hour. Uh, I'll probably do more of these lives. I say that every fucking time. Every time I do a live session, I say that I'm going to do more of them. But it is handy just to kind of throw it on and do the live sessions real quick. Um, but yeah, just busy, and I will be starting a new YouTube channel for some dirt bike related stuff, and when we're building the place and everything that I'm doing, the new business stuff, I'm gonna be starting a new YouTube channel for that, just to kind of talk about some things, and there'll be some stuff on there about like equipment stuff, and there'll be stuff about dirt bike stuff, and it'll be just kind of interesting shit, a little bit here and there. So I'll be splitting a little bit of time between that and shooting, but I'll try to still get out a little bit of content here and there that I can think of. So if you guys have any questions or any video ideas, just throw them in a comment or something. Let me know, and I will catch you guys. Appreciate you hanging out here. So see you guys. I'll holler at you sometime here.